Bury Me My Love, developed by the Pixel Hunt and ARTE France in 2017, tells the story of a Syrian refugee Nour, who undertakes a journey to safety in Europe. The player must guide Nour through dangerous situations and moral dilemmas in order for her to reach safe haven.
Bury Me My Love is an interactive novel. This means the format of the game is similar to a book, but how the story progresses and unfolds is determined by the reader's choices. This is already an accurate description of Bury Me My Love's gameplay. The game entirely takes place on a phone screen, with most of the game taking place inside Nour and her husband Maid's text messages to each other. The player must choose between different text messages to send, which changed Nour's decision along her journey to Europe, and thus how the story unfolds. The game runs smoothly and no bugs or glitches were encountered during a full playthrough. While the game's presentation is rather minimal, graphical style fits well to what the game is trying to achieve. It also features a lot of hand-drawn art, which gives it a homely and handcrafted feel. The game for the most part lacks any audio, aside from some ambient background music. While not necessary for the game's plot, some additional audio elements would have helped the game come to life a bit.
The learning content of Bury Me My Love is smoothly integrated into the plot, and translates into the choices put before the player. The hardships endured by Syrian refugees on their journey to Europe are at the core of the game's events, based on true stories. This makes the didactical content of the game directly relevant for the player, because if we take achieving a good ending to Nour's story as a condition for winning the game, then an empathic understanding is required from the player. 2 points of criticism should be addressed here, however. Firstly, the way the player can actually interact with the learning content, rather than just absorbing it, is limited, as the only agency the player has are the limited dialogue options available, some of which seem to have minimal outcomes. Secondly, the question needs to be addressed of who can speak for whom. Many reviews of the game point out that Bury Me My Love does not contain an honest representation of his refugee struggle. While judging this is certainly out of the scope of this blog, whether Bury Me My Love represents the experience of refugees in an honest way is key in evaluating whether the game is sincere. How then about topics of ethics, inclusion, equity and diversity? Bury Me My Love weaves these themes into the story, as Nour, being a Syrian woman, affects her negatively along her journey in many different ways. These experiences stem not only from those in European countries wary of refugees, but also of Syrian men that criticize her for not wearing a headscarf. Furthermore, there is a big focus on human rights violations, presented in different ways. Examples include the conditions of refugee camps, in which refugees lack basic supplies such as blankets, food and water, and don't have a proper place to sleep. Police brutality occurs as part of the main plot as well, if the player opts for Nour to join a protest movement. Admittedly, however, the game in its design is a bit biased towards the negative. In the European countries, those who welcome refugees with open arms, for example, are completely excluded from the game. If both the negative and positive attitudes towards refugees in these countries were shown, it would have amounted to a more unbiased and complete picture. On the developer's website, they state the following regarding their objective for the game. This story is about those who achieve that goal, reaching Europe. It is about those who don't. It is about those who die trying. It is about the world around us, something which we hope will lead you to keep pondering on after it is over.
Finally, in terms of accessibility and scale-up potential, the game performs relatively well. As the game has various simple controls and is also available on mobile, it is easily accessible. In this regard, the main limitation of the game comes from the fact that it's text only, not voiced. Regarding the scale-up potential of Bury Me, My Love, the game presents a strong concept. A refugee fleeing their home due to dangerous conditions is not excluded to Syria, and thus can be upscaled to different situations, with the aim to increase empathy and understanding to these marginalized groups. The biographical style of the game, along with the interactivity of the medium, help bring this idea to the player directly. All in all, Bury Me, My Love, despite its minimal design, does a good job of bringing a refugee's struggles to the player's mind. The developers of the game have created a touching story with believable characters, and the major plot decisions feel weighty enough to create the feeling that the player is in the driver's seat of Nour's journey. While the developer could have taken advantage more of the video game medium in order to give the player more agency, perhaps Bury Me, My Love should be viewed more as one of those choose-your-own-adventure books, where there are different paths and endings in the story, rather than a traditional video game. Within this format, the developers have done a good job for encouraging a sense of empathy in the mind of the player, while the player lets their values and morals guide their decisions. With this in mind, we give Bury Me, My Love 19 out of 25 Mind Game stars. As always, a detailed breakdown of our scoring of the game can be found in the link below. Until next time.